So this is Jenkins. Right? Jenkins is working on 8080. First of all, what is Jenkins and why do we need Jenkins? Okay, so whenever if you go for IT companies, right? Okay, so whenever you go for IT companies, so there is a different ways you can run your code. Okay, so you have your code. For example, this is your code. Okay, so this is your, for example, this is your Python code. Okay, so there are multiple ways you can just deploy this, so deploy this code. Okay, so deploy this code in your environment. Okay, so what is environment? So from here, what you have to do about, what you should be knowing about kind of multiple environments. Okay, so what is environments? Environment is something like a dev environment, staging or pre-prod, and the prod. Okay, so these three are the, we have called as environments. So what is going to be environment? Okay, so first of all, it's a dev environment, dev and pre-prod or staging. Okay, this is prod. Okay, so we have these three environments is there. What is these three environment? So environment means you have a set of, the set of servers for each and every environment, whereas, so everything will be working independently. Okay, so depends upon Vijayalakshmi. Yeah, attend this one. Okay, so we have three different environments are there. Okay, the pre-prod and staging and prod. Okay, so why do we need these three and these three things? Okay, so first of all, you have set of servers over here. You have set of servers over here, and you have set of servers over here as well. Set of servers over here as well. Okay, so set of servers over here and here. For example, let's consider this is a google.com. Okay, so the google.com, okay, is the complete setup of the google.com. Okay, so the google.com, the actual domain, you know about the domains, right? I don't want to explain it to you again. So google.com domain, .com domain will be working over here, in this environment. This is prod or live. Okay, or prod or live environment. So what is pre-prod and staging? Okay, so here the Google will have a different domain name. Okay, so so the domain name may be that pre-prod dot google.com. Okay, so here pre-prod or pre-prod.google.com or staging.google.com. I will tell you. Okay, and here we have a called dev.google.com. Okay, so they name these domains something like this one, right? So they have a pre-prod, prod, and so the okay, so pre-prod, prod, dev, all these three environments are there here. Okay, so what happened to now? What happened to this now is that, so whenever you're writing some code, okay, for example, today is Independent Day. Okay, so the Google wanted to upload one front page, the front page image, so to the google.com server. Okay, maybe that's the task. Okay, by mistake, what is the developer has done is that, so he made some updates, he directly deployed, he directly put it in the google.com. Okay, so what happens? The system will crash. Okay, it's not been working. So recently, you know that, Microsoft, guys, do you know that Microsoft has been breaching with some kind of the like some antivirus software. Okay, so that is called what is that, CrowdStrike, right? Yeah. So that company had broke some kind of the updates. They have not tested it properly, maybe, or some kind of a testing has not been gone well. So that's the reason why they deployed directly into the production. So it went to every server. Each and every kind of a server is finally blocked. Do you know how much has been lost for Windows? Anybody heard the news that how much is going to be lost for
16
Windows?
billion.
Sorry?
16 billion.
Yeah. So it's 15 kind of a billion, right? So more than that. So I heard that something like 25,000 crores till yesterday. So 25,000 crores is lost for them. The reason,
Even Teams is not working.
yeah, Teams is not working. Some of the machines, even in my phone also, Teams is not working. So the reason the reason why it's happening like that one is that so because it's a sudden loss for the all the companies, right? So all of a sudden Microsoft became it's kind of a, I mean, from the top level it became a low level, right? So now people are thinking like I should not be using Windows for everything.
Even in the airport, they have done the manual checking because
Yeah, so there are many things that happen. So now they stopped believing on Windows. Okay, what happened? So something this is okay. Okay, so what happened suddenly? Just that because of Windows is not working in your machine, so this is impacting so much, right? And there are almost like all over the world, almost like the 10,000 flights are cancelled.
I think Linux will come to picture. I think
Yeah,
that's
so
why.
that's what, right? Like, so now everybody's thinking that I wanted to go with Linux. So the reason why you are just getting into this kind of problems, so your company will be running into loss, so this Microsoft's having a lot of money, that's fine. What happened if something has happened to you? Okay, you have to pay this much of money for some kind of a very, very small mistake. This should be the very small mistakes, right? So if you have tested it properly, then it should have been happened. Okay, so what happens is that, for example, if the same thing happened to Google.com, okay, Google.com has has taken the code and then deployed to the production directly. Okay, something is wrong and something is been broken. Okay, something is broken here. Now entire Google.com is not working. Just imagine. Okay, so if Google.com is not working for 5 minutes, you know how much loss is going to be.
For 1 minute, there will be some.
Google.com is not working, so all the flights will be cancelled. You know why? All the flights will be cancelled. Each and every flight will be cancelled. Why?
The day you told, like for 1 minute, they will be losing like some lakhs
Yeah, so why? Can somebody tell me that why? If Google.com is not working for 5 minutes, entire flights has to be cancelled.
because there will be no update.
No? Guys in the call, why?
Whatever the
So,
system.
don't worry. Maybe they use some kind of navigation services.
Yeah, it's kind of a navigation services, right? They're using Google Navigator. Okay, so maybe that I can tell we can tell that okay we are not using Google Navigator or something like that. So all the flights and everything somehow they use kind of on Google navigations. Google is the one and only. So do you know any kind of other navigation system or any? I mean, for if you want to run a car also, right? The Google.com. Google is the only one kind of a thing. And what about that medicals? So if you go for any kind of a medical systems, right? So all the medical systems will be working on Google APIs. Okay, so all the medical systems and everything will be working, and also the automatic driving cars. What happened if the automatic driving cars is suddenly Google.com is not working and email that so the maps are not working. What happened to the Google automatic cars? They'll try to stop because I don't know how to go. Okay, or they will go and hit somebody. Right, so that's the impact, all over the world. It will be that impact of the Google.com is going to be huge, like so more than a billion trillions of the money that costs, just that Amazon.com, I mean that Microsoft.com goes down for a few machines, right? That too, Microsoft has been down only for few machines, right? Only for airports, only for very very few things it was not working. But imagine that Microsoft and Google.com is not working for entire world. It's going to be a huge impact, right? So that is the reason why CI/CD pipeline should come into the picture. Okay, you might be seeing that CI/CD pipeline, CI/CD pipeline. Okay, so we'll come to the pictures. In order to avoid, okay, so all these kind of problems, you have to implement CI/CD pipeline. What is CI/CD pipeline means? Okay, so whenever you're writing some code, okay, first you have to test it in the dev environment. Okay, so what is dev environment is that? So dev environment is some kind of it has a set of servers. Okay, exactly matching with the prod, exactly the same, copy to copy, exactly the same kind of a servers. Okay, so it has to be going and testing one by one. Okay, so first we'll test here. Okay, everything is done, everything is good, everything is good, everything is good, all good, all good, all good. Next, it will go to staging. Staging will be having a almost almost 100% of matching with this environment. At least this one will be matching something like 80% of environment. Why? Because 80% of the Google.com environment. But this one exactly matching 99.999% will be matching with the google.com prod. So whenever that particular code is being testing over here, okay, so this one will be tested, okay, exactly just matching with this one, okay. So believing that, okay, this particular test will be working in live also, okay. So after testing the control will come down, okay. Now it will go to the production, okay. So start from below the production, that update will be done, okay. So this is why it's called as a continuous CI/CD. What is CD means? CD, continuous deployment. Okay, if you go for an interview, right, they'll ask you what is CI/CD. CD is called as a continuous deployment. What will happen whenever you're writing some code? For example, in your team, some 1,000 people are there. Google.com, just imagine how many people will be working. Okay, so everybody will be depending upon individually, right? Okay, so now whenever somebody is writing the code, okay, it should automatically they'll be testing in some dev environment. Whenever they are testing dev environment, that build, if it is passes, automatically will take it up and then go to the next environment. So next environment, it automatically take it up and go to the product environment. What happened if it is breaking in dev environment?
Again, the code will be analyzed where it is.
Huh?
If it is fails here, again it will go to the main code.
If it is fails here, okay, it will not proceed for the next next iteration, okay. It will block and it revert the code, okay. It will revert the code and says that, hey, please go and check this code, it is not working, okay. And only when this is being approved, it is going to the next environment and coming to the prod. Even in prod also, right, before deploying there is approval process here, okay. There is a approval process here.
So in dev environment and prod, will there be users like us, or it's just a testing environment? Only the developer and the testers will be working on it.
What?
Like there are three different environments,
Yeah.
right? So last environment will be the end users environment.
Yes, yeah.
Where we will be using. In this also there will be some users. Will they be using this after the deployment to see if there is any kind of bugs or?
Yeah, that's what I'm just telling. Okay, so here that's what exactly I was trying to talk about. See, here also there's approval stages there. Okay, there will be a head of the department. He'll be checking, so what change exactly he wanted to deploy. Okay, and all this deployment will not go in a single time. Okay, there is something like a release process will be there. You heard of releasing, right? Release process. What is release process? Release process is something, they have something. So the Google.com is kind of a very huge kind of thing, right? They have a release process kind of thing. So for India, they will be releasing this kind of a major updates in the midnight. So midnight kind of around 2 o'clock, 2:30, or in the weekends kind of a night. That part of time, they'll be making this approval. What happened if something has happened, goes wrong, okay, and something is not working? That amount of users impacted is very less. In the night time, so all the roads and cars will be empty. The amount of users will be using the Google.com and Google Maps will be really less. So because of that, they have approval process, and then there will be a releasing process. Release process will be there. And this is one kind of, so once it is approved, then we'll go and deploy it so that all the end users will be seeing it. So the next one is that, so next one is that there is a blue green deployment option will be there. Okay, so what is blue green deployment? This is your code. Okay, so you have written this code. So you have, this is a dev environment, staging environment, and this is prod environment. Okay, so what I'm telling is that there will be a two prod environment identical. Okay, so in some of the next operations, right? So there will be a two environment. Okay, one is live, another one is standby.
The
Standby
goes
live.
down, stand up will come.
Yeah, so one is live and then another one is standby. So this kind of a systems, they have to be maintaining in the real-time environment, right? So what are we learning today is that, so it's just not just that you're finishing the course, right? So what you're learning today is that, if you're going for interview or tomorrow, okay, you have to explain all these things. How can I, so you load balancers and all these things. So how can you, make your application highly available always. So you have to the way you have to explain is that, it's going to be really really in a good manner, right? So that like that. Okay. So now it is standby and it is live. Okay. Now whenever the code is checked in here, okay, the code is here. Okay, it will be tested on top of dev environment. Okay, is everything check is passed, everything is passed, it's coming and going to the staging environment, and staging environment everything is done. Okay, now the changes will be deployed to where? Deployed to prod. Okay, this is the prod, but here or here, where it will deploy? Huh? In both it will deploy. Are you sure? Anybody can have any guess that it will be first? The changes. Huh?
First, it will go to standby, I guess.
Okay, Shivam, what are you telling?
Standby.
Will
You
be
should
deployed
deploy it
standby.
first.
Okay, well, what Harish? Harish, what are you saying?
Will go to standby first.
It go to standby only. Are you sure? Why it should not go to the live?
So should you deploy on live and keep the standby in case anything happens?
Okay, so what he's telling is that what Havish is telling is that I want to deploy in live. If something's happened, I want to go to standby. That's the one, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is kind of a, that's also kind of a, a good answer. So there are two different ways we can just do that. Most of the times, the changes will go to standby only. Okay, so this will go to the standby. So going to the standby, it will deploy the code. It'll already been tested everything with some set of users. If you go for a Google, okay, Google is paying some companies. Okay, so Google is paying some companies, okay, to test in a real time. Okay, for example, Google is paying me, saying that, hey Dilip, okay, so I will give you some kind of endpoints. So this is Google.com endpoints. Okay, I wanted to use this. Please use this and let me know whether it is working fine or not. Use this for 1 hour, 2 hour, to 3 hours, and all these things, and you just let me know as a user point of view. Just like the now what happened, Microsoft has been updated. It is not working for everybody, right? Similarly, what that Google is telling you is that he'll give it to some kind of a third party company. Third party company saying that, hey, whether you see whether it's working fine or not. Okay, so that I'll be paying monthly that for the whatever the testing has been done. So if the same thing, so if the Microsoft, right, Microsoft, that software updates, if they have done, ask them to test the particular code with some certain users, some particular certain companies, right? What they would have done, that company, they would have tested that particular code and say that, hey, I'm getting some kind of blue screen, something is wrong, please go and check. Okay, so that company, that's a real company, a real live company. Okay, so that company will be testing, hey, this is not working, please go and check, something has happened, don't deploy it. Because they have not give the green signal, they won't deploy it over here. Okay, so now what happens? Okay, once everything is working fine, so they certified that, that company certified that everything is working fine. Now what happened? They won't deploy it over here. What happened now? Now it's been deployed here, everything is working fine. What happened now? No, it's working fine. If it is working fine, what happened now next? Huh?
Will go to live.
It go to live.
They will make, yeah,
Yeah, what Shivam is telling?
they will make this one live and
Exactly,
another one is
right.
standby.
So everybody will be thinking that I'll be deploying the code over here also, right? So that is what not the good practice. What the real time companies will be doing. So they will be doing this one as live. Okay, this one is standby. Now all the users whoever is connecting Google.com. Now all the users whoever is connecting Google.com, the Google.com code, I mean the Google.com website will directly point to this site. Now this one is unupdated, right? This code is not updated. This code is updated code. Okay, so this is what called the DNS switchover. DNS. Okay, they will be doing DNS switchover. So what is DNS switchover? For example, so the Google.com is there. Okay, Google.com. Okay, so they have name this domain is a Google1.com, something like that. Google1.com or Google.com. So whenever they have, I mean, this Google.com will be pointed to this one, for example, this one, for example, and Google1.com will be pointed to this one, for example, right? Whenever they wanted to make this one is live, whenever they wanted to make, any kind of Google.com is live, they'll be moving from google.com to google1.com to google.com, and it will make a switch over. Okay, switch over of the DNS, so that this DNS will be live now. Okay, this is what called as CI/CD pipelines. Okay, this is kind of a really important topic. Now I'm going to give you some kind of a very small kind of a task. Okay, so first I want you to install kind of a
In this, what happens to the users which are currently?
sorry.
Yeah. I wanted to ask what will happen to the users which are currently using the services. For example, I am using current Google Map.
Uh-huh.
So if that time DNS switch over happens, will
No,
the
it will
service
be.
terminate?
It won't go down. It's automatic DNS switch over. That's the reason why I'm telling you that the switch over will happen in night, or where the very less impacts are there. Okay,
Okay.
so if you're doing at night 2:30 or something like that, right? So not much people are impacted, with that fraction of changes. But Google will not be making so much of changes in the live, so they rarely will do the changes. Okay, very rarely will do. But what they will do in the back end they will change something, but they won't break the live environment. Okay, so this is what the concept. That's called a releasing process, right? So we should not be getting into the situation that so your server is down all the time. So now let's create one kind of very small kind of a task. Go to new. Okay, so here there is a different types of projects are there. Okay, so that particular project is all about. Okay, and can you get me the charger, please? Sorry.
So many charges.
I know that. Just give me 1 second, please. Sorry. Okay, so now I wanted to use some kind of a project, right? The project name is, see, there is a different types of projects. The freestyle project you see here, so freestyle project, pipeline project, multi-configuration project, and folder and multi-branch pipeline and organization folder, right? So freestyle project, which means that you can run only one particular code, one set of code, okay? And the pipelines you can just do with the pipelines, So what is pipeline? See, this is what I was calling as a pipeline here, right? So what happened is first you'll go here, so then everything successful, then they will go to the next one, then go to the next one. So that's what called, in home also we have a different set of the home pipes, right? It will go from one building to another building, so we will be connected together. That's what's calling here also, so that's what called a pipeline project. Okay, so multi-conference project and multi-branch pipeline project, all these things we can see that later. Okay? First of all, we'll focus on. We don't need to know everything. Okay, so first and foremost things is that freestyle project, pipeline project. So freestyle project, I'm going to start freestyle project. The project name will be my freestyle. Okay, my freestyle project. Okay, so I'm just choosing this one. So whenever you're going inside here, right, you'll be having kind of a different kind of a so the methods will be there. Forget about all these things. GitHub project, you can also add your GitHub URL. If you want to get the code from the GitHub, you can also add your GitHub URL, and then you can just do the credentials and everything. So these are all the things are there. So you can also do some kind of a description, like test something like that. Test something like that. All the description you can just do. Okay, so now okay, so here source code management. Here, this is what exactly I was talking. So if you want to have a Git URL, you can add the credentials, and it will be working, right? So now I don't want to use the source code management. Now I'm using the standard ones. Okay, so now, so trigger build remotely. So build triggers. How you want your build to be triggered. So this is also will cover in next syllabus. Now I want to add a build environment. All these things are there. So now I want to add a build steps. Okay, for me, I'm using a MacBook, right? So for me, I'm using MacBook, so that I'm using execute shell. Is there, okay? Execute shell is there. Now I'm doing echo hi. I'm just writing this kind of a simple command. So what is this command will do? It will print. where it will go and run it, where this code will run. Where this code will run? Anybody?
The terminal.
Sorry?
In the terminal. Yeah.
In the terminal. Which terminal? So this code will run in your computer. So wherever you have installed your Jenkins, Jenkins will run that particular code in that particular server or laptop or anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do apply or save. If we do save, it will go automatically come like this one. Okay, now I'm going to do build now. Okay, so what is going to be built now? Like if you can give build now. Okay, now the one kind of a build is been successfully created. Okay, so now if you can go to build now and console output, console. If otherwise, what also you can do is that you can just go and click here, and then click here as a console output. You can see echo hi finished successfully. Okay, now we can also see some of the another things, right? So I wanted to create some kind of a files and folders here. Okay, I'm going to /tmp. Okay, I'm going to create some kind of folder. Okay, here there is nothing folders there. So cd to hello. So there is no folder is there. Okay, so I'm going to create a folder called hello in /tmp. Okay, so I'm going to see how it's going to be working. Okay, so now I'm going back to my project. Okay, go to configure. Okay, my project configure. If you go to configure,
It's not running for me.
sorry,
It's giving an error saying looks like an error when clicking.
yeah, I will come back to that. Okay, so I'll come back to that error. Okay, so now if you can go back here and then you can just click on. If you click on like no touch or mkdir hello /tmp hello, right? Okay, this is what the command I'm just giving. Okay, so now it will be running two commands. Okay, so now if I can build, sometimes it can give the error and most of the times so finished mkdir /temp hello. It's created one new folder. Okay, now if you go and cd, see it's created now. Okay, so whatever the command you are giving here, it won't type. So this is not the command, right? This is the project. This is your code. Similarly, if you run your Python code, Python code file, if you run it from here, it should work. Okay, so now for example, now I'm going to, for example, if I have some kind of a file.sh, okay, so here the /tmp, I have one more called file.sh. File.sh is there. Okay, I'm going to add some file kind of, so echo. Okay, so running from file, something like this. Okay, so now I'm running this one. Okay, chmod. Okay, plus execution file I'm just giving. Now I want to run this execution file. I want to run this file. So now I'm removing everything and I'm going to run. Okay, sh. What happen if I do sh file.sh? So it's running from the file. This output is giving me. Okay, now I'm going to run the same command from here also. Now I'm going to give the same command from here. Okay, now save and I build now. Okay, it's taking some time. So now it's telling me that something is wrong. Okay, no such file or directory. Because why it's not been able to find? Why it's not been able to find? Because it is running from here. We need to run from /tmp. Okay, /tmp and then save. And now build now. See, this is what kind of a faulty output. Okay, so whenever you have made something wrong, it will stop it over here itself. Okay, so this is what is called as so now running from the file success. Now similarly, if you have your big Java code, okay, if you want to do huge Java particular code, if you want to build it automatically, and it will preserve the outputs also. So for example, the last build, what was output? What was the error you came? Okay, this one. Okay, fine. Even if you come tomorrow also, you can see the same output. the same output will be there. That's the advantage of Jenkins. You can just also preserve the outputs and everything in the Jenkins UI. Got it? Any questions? Okay, so for now, you just please run all these things and you write your own Python code or something, some bash code. If you're running from Windows, right, that command will be different. So you need to find some kind of commands just to run from this. Okay, Avish, can you share me a screen and then show me what is the error you're getting? And before that, I'm stop my screen. Okay, so it's kind of basics, right? Like I can just